Relationship and reporting of internal audit service. To be effective, the IAS must have the trust and confidence of the key stakeholders it works with. This can only be established and maintained by fostering effective working relationships and delivering high quality and timely internal audit services. So first, the local chief executive, the governor, and the mayor. The IAS must report directly to the LCE. The LCE is not the client of the IAS. Instead, a superior subordinate relationship exists between the LCE and the internal auditors. This means that the IAS is accountable to the LCE. This relationship should be used as an opportunity for internal audit to gain insights into new and emerging issues and concerns facing the LGU and to discuss the role that the LCE requires the AASU to fulfill in line with the latter's mandated function. So how do we do it? So in our case, in LGU Odiongan, we facilitated a talk with our local chief executive to discuss the benefits of having internal audit services. And then what are the functions of IAS? And then how can we help in achieving the vision, mission, goals, and objectives of the municipality. In Sangguniang, the IAS is administratively under the LCE, but operationally under both the LCE and Sangguniang. This distinction is important to preserve the integrity of the IAS findings. Thus, if the IAS will audit the units, programs, projects of the executive branch, it will have to report its findings to the LCE. However, if it will audit the Sangguniang, it will have to report to the presiding officer of the Sangguniang concerned, or the vice mayor, or the vice governor. IAS reports for other departments may be provided to the Sangguniang with prior clearance from the LCE. So, as you can see, IAS is operationally under the two heads of units in the LGU, LCE and then Sangguniang. But it is only in operationally during internal audit activities. But if we have to make a realignment of budget, for IAS activities, then it has to be the LCE. He has to approve those things, or approval of leave credits. That would be the LCE. So, about Department of Budget Management, pursuant to Office of the President Administrative Order Number 119 as amended, the DBM is mandated to promulgate the proper and appropriate rules, regulations, and circulars for the strengthening of the internal control systems, including internal audit as key part thereof in government. The Department of Budget and Management issued several standards and manuals pertains to internal control and internal audit services. First of which is the National Government of Internal Control System, or commonly known as NGICS, through Circular Letter 2008-8. It is a standard for internal control. Next would be the PGM, Philippine Government Internal Audit Manual, used widely in the executive branch. Then it was updated or revised in 2020, or revised Philippine Government Internal Audit Manual. And then for LGUs is the Internal Audit Manual for LGUs, which was issued in 2016 through DBM Local Budget Circular number 1110, series of 2016. Currently, the local Internal Audit Manual for LGUs is currently ongoing. The revision is ongoing. As per DBM, they will issue it on later this year, this 2022. The Commission on Audit, COA, has the constitutional authority and duty to examine, audit, and settle accounts in accordance with law and regulations. The Constitution, as well as the Administrative Code of 1987, also provides that where the internal control system of the audited agencies is inadequate, the COA may adopt such measures, including temporary or special pre-audit, as necessary and appropriate to correct the deficiencies. This authority of the COA is distinguished from the functions of the IAS. The ES is an integral part of the LGU and assists in the management and effective discharge of the responsibilities of the LGU without intruding on the authority and mandate of the COA granted under the Constitution, and without encroaching on or taking on a stance that is in conflict with the COA auditors. However, there must be constructive cooperation between the ES and the COA. An example of cooperation between ES and COA is in the formulation of strategic internal audit plans, wherein we asked our resident COA auditor about the pertains to auditable areas or universe area, which is should be one of the priorities in conduct of internal audit. So that's one way of constructive cooperation between the two. The Civil Service Commission, the CSC, is the constitutional body concerned with the promulgation of policies, standards, and guidelines on personnel administration. The responsibility for setting standards, policies, guidelines, and programs pertaining to human resource management of the government is placed with CSC. The CSC conducts audit of personnel actions of departments and agencies. So, does the IAS doesn't need to audit pertains to HRM? The answer would be no. IAS has a authority to conduct audit whether it complies with requirements, rules, and regulations, or whether it is effective, efficient, economical, or ethical. At the same time, if it would be the management controls are efficient or effective discharge. So the CASC may also conduct its audit since it is mandated by the Constitution. The role of accountant in relation to internal audit. The role of accountant in LGUs, however, is specifically provided in Section 474B1 of the Local Government Code, which provides that the accountant shall take charge of both the accounting and internal audit services of the LGU concerned, and shall maintain and install an internal audit system in the LGU. The accountant performs regular functions, such as pre-audit, because it is an inherent function of the accounting unit to ensure that disbursements are in compliance with laws, rules, and regulations that are properly documented, while the internal auditor performs non-regular functions, such as compliance, management, and operations audits. Pursuant to Administrative Order No. 278 dated April 28, 1992, directing the strengthening of the internal control systems of government financial institutions and LGUs in their operations, it is clear that pre-audit of vouchers is not a function of internal auditor, and the internal audit is detached from all regular functions. Further, the DBM Budget Circular 2004 is -04 dated March 22, 2004, Guidelines on the Organization and Staffings of Internal Audit Units, provides for LGUs to determine their own staffing modification subject to the approval of Sanggunian. Therefore, the creation of positions for internal audit should be under the internal audit unit or office. It could be set up within the office of the mayor or the vice office of the provincial governor. So it could be a separate, distinct office, and it has its own plantilla position, all of which are possibility and is in compliance with the requirements of the law. So, IAS relationship with auditees and other stakeholders. The auditees, which may refer to different departments, sections in the LGU, may play a cooperative role in the course of the conduct of the IAS of internal audit. In doing so, they are responsible for the following. 1. Understand the audit objectives, scope, criteria, and methodology. As authorized by the LCE, allow the IAS to have full, free, and unrestricted access to information that IAS considers necessary in undertaking internal audit activities. Provide comments and insights about the significant audit issues as a way of validating the findings. 4. Comply with approved audit findings and recommendations. 5. Implement preventive and corrective actions and corrections to address the approved findings and recommendations. And lastly, provide feedback and suggestions regarding the performance of IAS or IU in its audit engagements. This is part or the role of the auditees and other stakeholders during the conduct of internal audit activities or internal audit execution. So they should know about the objectives, the scope, the criteria, and how or the methodology, how the audit will take place, how it will be done. So it needs to be authorized also as well by the LCE or the presiding officer, the Sanggunian. So they shall have full, free, and unrestricted access to information. So the auditee should also provide comments and insights about all significant audit issues. It could be related. They could relate it to the auditors during the entrance conference or all throughout the audit execution phase. So they need also to comply with the approved audit findings and recommendations given by the auditors and approved by the LCE or the presiding officer. They shall implement the preventive and corrective measures and give feedback. No, and they shall also give a score what pertains to their performance. Then IAS relationship with auditees and other stakeholders. The key stakeholders may either be internal or external. So example of internal stakeholders include from the Office of the Ombudsman and other review and oversight bodies. In terms of relationship, the IAS basically coordinates with the internal stakeholders. So example from the Office of the Ombudsman, if there's a file of a case or administrative complaint to the Office of the Ombudsman and they requested an investigation from IAS, we will comply and coordinate with it, but then we will conduct our own investigation, and if they request it, we will comply it also. So that would be part of a arrangement between the Office of the Ombudsman and then Internal Audit Services. So other review bodies such as the provincial government or the DBM regional offices and other LGUs such as the ALG or other barangay also. External stakeholders, on the other hand, pertain to those outside the sector. These are the persons, organizations, other service groups that are outside of the LGU but may have an interest and can influence the achievement of sectoral goals of the agency concerned. The ES only collaborates with external stakeholders and shall have approval with the LCE. It is important to know that any engagement with the external stakeholders should have an approval with the LCE. So in our case, in Odiongan, we conducted a technical working discussion with the internal auditors in the municipality from local state university, from Lund State College, from Lund State University, from a electric cooperative, and then a cooperative. So we conduct a dialogue. At the same time, we ask them for a cooperation to be part of the technical working group to formulate a strategic internal audit plan and then local internal audit manual. So we collaborate with them and then needs to have an approval of the LCE.